I wanted to make this quick video about the acceleration of gravity, due to gravity, sorry. This is quite funny because it's right, the answer is right there in our face, but they've twisted it, they've changed it to suit their agenda. This will make sense to you if you watch this. This actually will make sense. If you try to make sense of what they say, it doesn't make sense. Essentially, if gravity is causing a constant acceleration speed, then that speed would never change because gravity is always present in our atmosphere. Unfortunately for them, we can prove otherwise. So I'm going to go through what it actually means. So here we have the altitude difference here. So as you go up higher in altitude, the acceleration of an object changes. So it isn't constant. It isn't constantly 9.8 meters per second squared. So what we're going to do is we're going to find out why the altitude affects this acceleration speed. So if we go here, we find out that the density of air, of course, like you know, is less as you go up. And the density of things is more as you go down. That's just simple. It's simple. That is how the world works, right? So as we go up higher in the air, of course, the speed of acceleration changes. Because there's less density up there, you actually move faster. And as you get closer and closer to the ground, there's more density down there. The more dense gases sit closer to the ground, and the less dense gases sit higher in our atmosphere. This is exactly the same process that we see on Earth. You might see a leaf floating around, you know, and that is less density, less weight as well. Then, well, essentially the air around it, it also catches lift and name it, a few other things. What's another example of that? Sorry, I'm just thinking, maybe like sand, for instance. It doesn't feel as much resistance to the air, so sometimes you'll see sand get lifted by wind. But essentially, the reason that people believe this and this, and they believe that it's due to gravity, is because when we put things in a vacuum chamber, right, they fall at the same speed. So I will go through that and show you that. Okay, so right here, I'm just going to mute this. Actually, in the start, he mentions about how it's due to air resistance.
30 tons of air in this chamber until there are about 2 grams left. And it's kind of got an eccentric construction, which is part of its history. It was built in the 1960s. So they built an outer thermal pressure vessel to the conditions of outer space. He took a heavy object and a light one and dropped them at the same time to see which fell fastest.
So I just want you to hear what he says.
In this case, the feathers fell to the ground at a slower rate than the bowling ball because of air resistance.
There you go. So he's blatantly admitted that the feather has fallen slower because of air resistance, right? It weighs less than the bowling ball, therefore it has less resistance to the air. Essentially, it comes back to density and mass, right? So when you take out everything, so we'll skip to here, you take out everything, there's no density. There's no density at all beneath either object, okay? And when you drop them, they're going to fall at the same rate because neither object has any resistance against it. No resistance. There is no air, there is no density, there is no mass, there's absolutely nothing. So, of course, they are going to fall at exactly the same rate. Why would they not fall as fast as they could fall? In essence, that is exactly what they're doing. Now, they say this is because of gravity. But again, gravity isn't constant. We just proved that with not only one equation, but I've had several conversations with other people before about many different other equations as well, where the force of gravity is not constant. Now, while we're here, I don't know if you realize, but centrifugal force is actually the force of the spinning globe. Okay, so centrifugal force is perpendicular to the axis of the Earth, right? So it's supposed, they used to say, see, not exactly opposed to gravity, right? Because they can't say that. They used to say, when I was at school, that centrifugal force was the opposing force of gravity. Now, centrifugal force at the equator, I believe, is 1800 miles per hour. We'll just double check that. Where are we? Oh my gosh, I spelled that wrong. Sorry. Hopefully one of them says it. They used to say it. So it used to be 1800 miles per hour at the equator. Hopefully it still is. And at minimum, it's 1,000 miles at the equator. Again, I will actually have to go find this, obviously, and attach it properly. They've literally got rid of the info here. But what happens is, if there was centrifugal force opposing gravity at the equator, then essentially at the North Pole, there would be more gravity. There would literally have to be more gravity at the North Pole because there's less centrifugal force. So, as you know, for every force on Earth, there's a counterforce. So what is the counterforce of gravity if they've changed it from centrifugal force? Okay, I've just found that they've changed this, so we'll have a look, okay? Anti-gravity is a recurring concept in science fiction, particularly in the context of... What is the opposing force, mate? Come on. So they're saying that you are. What? Exerted by the person onto Earth equal magnitude. What? Is that really what they're saying? So there's no counterforce for gravity. So we know the whole world is based on yin-yang, positive, negative. We've got positive, negative charge. We've got sunlight. We've got darkness. Everything you can possibly think of right now has a counter. And they're telling us that gravity doesn't. And I just explained that we don't need gravity for any of this. We honestly don't. It's all because of density. That's why the speed of acceleration changes as you go up higher, because there's less density against whatever is falling. So naturally, as you go up higher, it actually falls a little bit faster. It's in their equations. That's why we see these two things drop at the exact same time when there's zero density beneath them. Sorry, my son's just whistling. But I just wanted to share this. You guys need to look into this. Don't just trust what they've told you. I mean, as I just shared this morning, NASA apparently plugged a hole with their finger in the ISS, and then shared a photo of that hole, and that was off of a album from 2014, which, if you listen to the album, is kind of interesting as well. Just look into these things, okay? And feel free to have a friggin' argument on this video. Go for it, okay? I wouldn't share something if I hadn't tested it. This is testable, observable, repeatable, peer-reviewed science. This whole gravity thing is a theory. It's still a theory. Neil deGrasse Tyson, he doesn't even know how to explain it. It's all a load of crap. It really is. You could try your damn hardest to prove gravity. It is absolutely impossible. They said the only way you can prove gravity, cut it out, Oscar, is to go into space. So they've purposely put that off limits. Again, over the years, they've said, we're going to go to Mars, we're going to go here, we're going to go there. Again, just look into the stuff yourself. I'm not going to say any more, but that is exactly why the speed of acceleration isn't constant. It's because gravity is not a constant force. Gravity doesn't apparently even anymore have a counterforce, which is impossible. Every force has an opposing force. We know that. That is absolutely, without a doubt, scientific fact. So for them to say that it doesn't, I mean, yeah, as I said, just think for yourself.